Welcome to the Year 6 strategy for multiplication. In this lesson I'm learning to solve multiplication questions using the strategy multiplication in parts. Well, let's start with this question here. I've got 4 groups of 36. Now the aim of this lesson here is to split this number here, the 36, into parts rather than having to work it all out at once. So what we're going to do is we're going to split this number so it's made up of a tidy number and what's left over. So the tidy number in this case is going to be 30 and the amount left over is 6. So let's just draw out a picture to see what this looks like. Well, I've still got 4 groups, so I'm going to draw out my 4 groups. 3 and 4, except rather than writing 36 in it, I'm going to write it as 30 and 6. 30 and 6 and 30 and 6 and 30 and 6. So you can see I've still got the same amount in each group, I've just split it up. So now we're going to work this out in 2 parts. In the first part, we're working out how many 6s we've got. Well, you can see them in all of my groups. So I've got 4 groups of 6, which I know is 24. So now the only amount I've got left in every group is 30. So now I need to work out what 4 groups of 30 would be. So I'll write that here. 4 groups of 30. And I know that 4 groups of 30 is 120. So now I've just got one step left. I need to add these two amounts together. 120 plus 24 is 144. So the answer to 4 times 36 is 144. Let's try another question. This time I want to work out 3 groups of 42. Well, just like last time, this number here shows me how many groups I need. So I'm going to draw out 3 groups. Oops, 1, 2, and 3. Now I need to split this number here up into a tidy number and amount left over. So the tidy number is going to be 40 and the amount left over is 2. 40 plus 2 gives me 42. So in each of these groups I'm going to put 40 and 2. 40 and 2 and 40 and 2. And I'm going to start by working out how many 2's I've got. Well, I can see I've got 3 groups of 2. And 3 groups of 2 is 6. So I've worked out how many 2's there are. So now I need to work out how many 40's I've got. Well, I've got 3 groups of 40. And I know 3 groups of 40 is 120. And now if I add these two amounts together, 120 plus 6 is 126. Let's do one last question. This time I want to work out what 5 groups of 53 is. So I'm going to draw out my 5 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're getting better, you might be able to imagine that in your head. And now I need to split up 53 into a tidy number. So in this case it's 50, and the amount left over, which in this case is 3. And we can double check, 50 plus 3 is 53. So now in all of my groups I'm going to put my 50 and my 3. 50 and 3. And I'm going to start by working out how many 3's I've got. Well, there are 5 groups and 3 in each group, so 5 groups of 3 is 15. So I've worked out all of the 3's. So now the only amount that I've got left in my groups is the 50. And I've got 5 groups of 50, and I know that 5 groups of 50 is 250. So now all I need to do is add these two amounts together. 250 plus 15 is 265. So 5 times 53 is 265. Well, let's have a think about the important things to remember in this lesson. Well, this lesson's called multiplication in parts, and the reason it's called multiplication in parts is because we're splitting this number here into parts, rather than doing the whole thing at once. What we're doing is we're splitting the number into a tidy number, and then what's left over. And then we work them out one at a time. So in this example we did 5 groups of 3, then we did 5 groups of 50, and we had to finish by adding them together to get our total. You can find the activity sheet that goes with this lesson in the Teacher Tools Multiplication and Division book from the White Book collection.